I got a big mouth. Can't help it. I talk from my heart. I'm real. You know what I'm saying? Whatever comes, comes. But my controversy problem. And it's not my fault. I'm trying to find my way in the world. You know, I'm trying to be somebody instead of just make money off everybody.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This your man Marcus A. Brown once again. Good morning to everybody that's tuning in now. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody that catch up with us on the replay. Let me start off by giving a special shout out to my Patreon members over at the MAB Experience Patreon page. For all my gold members, if I had your email address, you should have got that personalized Amazon link to download your free copy of my ebook, Just Another Book Niggas Ain't Gonna Read. There's a few people who still haven't gotten it, so the gold members, please get back to me with your emails. I got to do it that way because the book is being sent as an Amazon gift. And at this time, there's no way that I could post one link on Patreon for everybody. So for the time being, I have to send it to all the gold members one by one. But once again, I want to thank everybody who's got the book, whether you're a Patreon member or not. I appreciate the love, the support, and the feedback. And so today, I'm going to briefly skim through one of the larger chapters in the book, which is chapter 8. That's the 10 biggest send-off missions. Hey, shout out to All Eyes on Me. I see you watching live from London, England. Shout out to Lionheart. Shout out to CDA Guy. Y'all the first in the chat. CDA Guy. What up, MAB from the Shy? Oh, you from the crib. What's up, bro? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Anthony Russell. Talking about squad. You already know that squad. Gang. We out here. I posted the links on Instagram and Snapchat, so people will come through soon. We got Anthony Russell tuning in from Atlanta, Actual tuning in from Richmond. So yeah, man, y'all up early, man. What's going on? I'm about to go through. I'm not gonna read the entire chapter. I'm just going through the 10 biggest send-off missions real briefly. I thought it would make a decent topic for a YouTube video. And for those of y'all that's not familiar with my book, it'll kind of give you a little bit of insight as to what the book is about and some of the content. It's a lot of info I try to compact into one short book. It really was a blog and it turned into a book. That's how long-winded I could be. But for anybody that's not familiar with the old Chicago slang, send-off mission, that basically means pitfall, or a send-off mission could be when somebody sends you on a direction in life that it sounds good or it sounds harmless, but it has the potential to be a major inconvenience, if not just a big ass mistake that could, really have a negative impact on your life. So that's the 10 biggest send-off missions. The following missions I talk about, send-off missions that I'm gonna talk about in the book, it's just some of the main pitfalls that I see young people, especially young Black youth in the inner cities, getting involved in on a daily basis, and a lot of which, I got some experience with growing up. It's something that anybody can encounter in the hood. So we'll go over it real quick. But like I said, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. What I want to do right now is screen share my Kindle. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna switch over to Kindle. And y'all in the chat, let me know if y'all can see this. Just like hit 1 if you see my screen. It should say Marcus's Kindle for Mac. I'm opening up the Kindle app and I'm gonna be reading from there. Marketing say go pick up a dub from my guy Mark. He right up the. Oh yeah, that sound like a send off mission. Go pick up a dub from my guy Mark. He right up the block. Gets to the block is no bud man. Yeah, that's a perfect example of getting sent off. So CDA guy say he see the y'all can see my screen right now. Give me 1 second. So this is the book, Just Another Book Niggas Ain't Gonna Read. I believe I posted the link, the Amazon link, in the description. Shout out to Mr. Grant Do It for the super chat, man. You know what? I think that was just a one-time ordeal. I'm not gonna follow up on that, but I'm glad that people enjoyed that video. I just wanted to speak my piece on it and be done with it. All Eyes on Me say, "Que lo que? Hey, que lo que, mi hermano? What's going on, man? Hey, Joanne, shit, I'm fucking up. Yo aprendiendo un poco español. I'm learning a little more Spanish, man. I'm getting it together with this Duolingo. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna do no more of that. We moving on to bigger and better things. So this is the book right here, Just Another Book Niggas Ain't Gonna Read. This is the cover, and Like I said, it's available on paperback and Kindle. For my Patreon Gold members, y'all should already have a copy of this. If you haven't got it, just hit me up and let me know. I'll make sure I get that to you. And chapter 8 right here, the 10 biggest send-off missions. I'm just gonna briefly read through it, and then I'll take a minute to pause and check out the comment section. Let me pull this up. Okay. All right, the clock on the wall keeps on ticking till one day the hands are severed, plans are severed. The clock on the wall keeps on ticking till one day no man remembers, nobody remembers. Marcus A. Brown. Yeah, that's. I had to toot my own horn real quick. That's a lyric from one of my songs called "I Remember." That's also on my YouTube page. Look that up. So moving on. In the fall of 2014, I published an extensive article for the launch of the mabexperience.com entitled "The Truth About Local Rappers." In this blog, I went into great detail on each relationship the average local artist will develop with different personalities on his or her journey to get established in the rap scene on an underground level, not even including the fuckery of being signed to a major record label. Needless to say, the blog post was highly respected in some circles and condemned in others. I got phone calls from local personalities telling me I don't want to mess around and quote unquote burn my bridges. But at that point, after discovering what was most important to me, my dignity, burning bridges was exactly what I intended to do. That being said, I decided to carry on tradition and dedicate a segment of this book to an elucidation of the 10 most common send-off missions that have the potential to waste a lot of your time and energy and potentially fuck up your life before you even get started living it. So without any further ado, let's get into it. I'm looking at a screen that it's showing me that I'm sharing my screen, and I don't know if that's getting in the way of y'all seeing what I'm looking at. So that's the illustration for a blog that I had on my website called The Truth About Local Rappers. Number one, the entertainment industry. We love to live vicariously through the lives of megastars, from musicians to actors, actresses, supermodels, athletes, celebrity business tycoons, world leaders, etc. We've all been conditioned by the big screens and even the smaller ones to idolize the celebrated cults of cool kids for their unique talents and sometimes the lack thereof, as well as their lavish lifestyles of luxury and exclusivity. The entertainment industry in general can serve as a great distraction for those who excessively indulge in the frivolous details and whereabouts of the rich and famous. Conversely, one thing that can be even more of a distraction than pocket watching our celebrities is yearning to become one. So like I said, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna read the whole chapter because this would be a real long video. But let me get back to the chat. Yeah, we got 14 watching and 7 likes. Let's get the likes up, man. I'm glad Arian Drake, shout out Arian Drake, he in the building. Okay, I'm glad y'all can see the screen. I'm gonna move on to the next send-off mission. We just covered the entertainment industry if you're just joining us. The next one, number 2, is the drug game. The drug game, or the trap, as we so lovingly call it, is just that, a trap. It goes back to what marketing was saying about go pick up a dub from my cat Mark. An abundance of American youth have been increasingly lured into the trap of both selling and abusing controlled substances such as marijuana, cocaine, heroin, MDMA, ecstasy, Molly, and other variations, prescription drugs such as promethazine, codeine, Xanax, Valium, Adderall, as well as legal substances with high potential for abuse such as tobacco, alcohol, and caffeine. Yeah, caffeine is definitely, you can get addicted to that. Hey, catch somebody at work when they had their coffee, you'll see what I'm talking about. This process often begins at an early age with introductions to popular drugs by close friends and or relatives. Between recreational use of some drugs and skewed earnings potential of selling other drugs, it's not uncommon for young people to find themselves immersed in activities centered around the constant consumption and distribution of drugs and the dangerous criminal activities associated with the trap. See gang shit below. That's another send-off mission. We'll get to that a little later in this video. So yeah, I'm gonna stop that right there so y'all can get an idea. We talked about the entertainment industry, the drug game. Number 3, cracking cards and money flipping. That's real big out here in Chicago, man. Everybody out here a card cracker or money flipper. And for those of y'all that's on Instagram, I'm sure y'all have seen pictures like this this illustration I got right here. Any of these accounts is telling you like, hey, send me $50, I can send you 50 stacks or 500. We about to talk about that. Cracking cards and money flipping have become popular money transfer scams in which the scam artist typically uses fake social media accounts and to advertise their services to naive and desperate victims. People who are pressed for cash in emergencies, as well as young adults who have little to no experience with banking and personal finances, are most susceptible to fall victim to these kinds of quick and easy money scams. It starts off with somebody, real or fake, flashing a bunch of money on the internet. We just talked about that. And proclaiming that if you want to make some fast, legit cash, usually somewhere between $500 to $10,000, to hit up their direct message inbox or call a number that is most likely an expendable line from a phone or text app. If you do decide to respond to these quick cash offers, then you will more than likely be presented with one of the following scams. Money flipping. Money flipping is the easiest of the scams as it has fewer steps involved and doesn't include the risk of being investigated by any authorities. Essentially, all the scammer is doing is convincing you to wire the money via Western Union or MoneyGram, and from there, they or somebody they know or supposedly know who works for the transfer service is supposed to flip or digitally hack the numeric value of the money being transferred five to 10 times over, and then wire the funds back to the client, aka the victim. So basically, and it's YouTube videos on this, and they funny as hell, man, because like a lot of guys, they caught wind of it and they start trolling the scammers. So basically, you get people on social media that are inbox naive people who not hip to that hustle, and they say, yeah, bro, if you're trying to make $500, send me $50 via Western Union. You send the $50 or the $100. Sometimes they'll give you like these hourly specials. It's funny, like the scams they come up with, because they'll say, yeah, act right now, and I can turn $200 into 20 bands. Whoever believes that, I want to say, you might deserve what's coming to you, but for whatever reason, it's a lot of naive people out there that fall victims to this. I've actually, I hate to say this, but I've dated chicks who have had their bank accounts ruined, or they've been put in a check system because they at one point or another either was dating a scammer or they believed the scammer and they thought that they would not have consequences for it. Yes, you will. As the account holder, that's not so much on the money flipping thing, but the card cracking, yeah, that'll definitely go back to you. So I don't want to read the entire thing, but let me see if I can. Yeah, let's go over the card cracking real quick. Cracking cards is an extensive form of bank fraud that requires the scammer to persuade their victims into revealing their personal banking information. Although this scam can be done anonymously over the internet, card crackers have also been known to operate in person when dealing with naive victims who are willing to risk their accounts. Wait, let me make sure I read that right. Although this can be done anonymously over the internet, card crackers have also been known to operate in person when dealing with naive victims who are willing to risk their accounts for the promise of fast cash. Just do a search for card cracking stories on YouTube. Now, for those of y'all that got the ebook, these are live links. You can actually click on these links here. I don't know if it's gonna show you my other screen. And these are interactive links. They'll take you to the links that I provided in the ebook. So see, if I click on the card cracking stories link, I'm gonna have to share the other screen. This is the link that hyperlink would have sent you to. It's just a YouTube search. But this story was a funny one. You could just go, like, it's all type of stories about people getting scammed. And at this point it's kind of old news. I know a lot of people was like, they was mad when it was people like me that was just putting them on blast. I don't really do the snitching thing, but I will share with people what's going on so that they don't fall victim to the same type of scams. And as far as I'm concerned, man, fuck these scammers. Like they don't have a problem ruining other people's lives. Let me get back to the Kindle. Mr. Old School Rider says, instead of burning bridges, blow that bitch up. There's a reason you ain't crossing that bridge anymore anyways. Bridges can always be built. Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm doing. I mean, at some point in time, you got to really figure out where you lie in terms of dignity. Like a lot of the rappers that I'm gonna get into the rap game, but a lot of the rappers they paying to get on the radio. They giving up their rights. They don't have any rights to their music, and a lot of them are getting pimped by the promoters and the DJs. And you know, they spending more money than they make, but they don't want people knowing that because they got to keep up the facade of flexing. I don't have to impress nobody. I don't have to fit in with none of these crowds anymore either. So that's why I could kind of care less about it. And that's why, like, you know, some people, they was upset with my book because of the title or the controversial cover. But some people who actually read it, they feel like it's a tell-all. Trust me, this is not a tell-all. I could be really out here talking more than I need to be if I wanted to. But I'm just touching a lot of, like I said, send-off missions, because I know a lot of young people that fall victim to stuff like this all the time. Shout out to Al Mercer from Brooklyn, New York. Appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna get into with the car cracking. Let me know if y'all can see this screen because I'm about to move on. I'm moving on to number 4 now. Mr. Grandeur saying kissing dudes on the mouth, Birdman and Lil Wayne. Yeah, see, that's a whole nother level of the industry. That's the mainstream fuckery that goes on in Hollywood. I ain't never get to that level, but on a local level, you got a lot of broke people that's pretending they not broke, and a lot of people that's paying for stuff that they pretend they not paying for. It's the same as the sex tourism thing, and I'm just like a whistleblower, I guess. But number 4, gang shit. Gang shit, gang, gang, gang. That's another hashtag I'll be using to troll people that feel like they own that hashtag. As previously mentioned in the drug game segment, the gang life is heavily merged with the culture of buying and selling drugs. Together, these two elements of crime and vice are escrowed into what the hood calls the trap. Many people use the term the trap loosely to describe poverty-stricken neighborhoods of the inner cities of America. This interpretation, however, implies that the trap is unavoidable. It is not accurately identified as the criminal activities that take place in a given neighborhood, but on the contrary, it is exuded that the actual neighborhood itself is the trap. So what am I saying here? I'm saying basically you can live in the hood and not be hood, if that makes sense. I'm a prime example of that. It was rough where I grew up, and I knew how to navigate through that. I didn't have to be a gangster to survive in a gang-infested neighborhood. I didn't have to hate the gangbangers either. I didn't have to like have beef with them either. I'm friends with people from different walks of life. But when people say it's hard out here, I'm in a trap, I grew up in a trap, we grew up with nothing, you know, that's understandable. But at the same time, there's a lot of affluential people that made nothing. They made something from nothing, or they came from nothing and made something of themselves. So, you know, there is a true, there's a such thing as victim of circumstances. And it is a such thing as some people literally being born into this shit in terms of like that gang life. But we all have some degree of a power of choice. And that's what I want people reading this to focus on. I could have easily joined the gang. I had enough cousins and uncles and chicks I was dating and dudes that wanted to rap and wanted to plug me. You know, that I wasn't about that life, and I wasn't finna try to act like I was. And I was blessed to have friends that kept me out of that. Because, you know, in so many ways, the ways they was beneficial to me, I was also beneficial to them as a guy that kind of walked a clean path. Moving on to number 5. Where we at? Number 5, hood models. This really pertains to the chicks, but I kind of mentioned the guys in here too. Hood models. This distraction applies more to the young women more than anybody else. But sure, there are guys that fall into this trap too. Okay, ladies, so here's how it works. You're young and in your prime. You're beautiful. Everybody wants to fuck you. I mean, take pictures of you. But you like the idea of taking professional photos, right? So the first few photo shoots are fun and experimental, and you meet a few cool photographers, and of course you meet a few creeps with cameras. The shit is kind of trippy, but beyond the married perverts and that one photographer your BFF doesn't remember sleeping with, modeling ain't half bad. You especially love the attention you get on social media. Your family hasn't shamed you too bad. Your inbox is full of invites from to invite. Oh, sorry, wait, let me say that over. Your family hasn't shamed you too bad. Your inbox is full of invites to events from promoters, rappers, and your high school crush who has a second baby on the way. And there's even a few slick talkers in your ear telling you how far you could go as a model with their guidance, of course. You're starting to see the potential in all of this. You got the perfect ass and thighs, and you can definitely pass for a fashion model while you're still a size 6. Or maybe you could make it onto one of those perm boxes or natural hair care products that you see in the beauty supply stores. If all else fails, you could definitely get paid to dance in a few rap videos. And if you're popular enough, you can even grab the lead and cameo with one of your favorite R&B singers. Yeah, that's it. Sky's the limit, baby girl. But in the meantime, whoever's willing to pay for your talent is top priority. You've had a few offers to do some implied nudity shoots, you know, the artsy fartsy type of naked pictures. It's cool. People won't actually see your goods, and it'll be left up to the viewer's imagination. You pick the photographer you feel most comfortable with, or the one you really most comfortable with. Yeah, there's a difference. For those of y'all that's photographers, y'all know how that game go. It turns out you have a great shoot. The pics are amazing. It's photoshopped a little bit, but that's okay. And you may or may not have messed around a bit with the photographer, but y'all are grown, and that's nobody's business. Seriously, it's nobody's business. It happens. But believe it or not, that's not even the real issue. Here's the thing. Your implied nudity shoots are a big success on social media. Look at all those likes and follows. And I'm saying that sarcastically. But you're on every hood photographer. Now you're on every hood photographer's radar in town. And they all have these great ideas for photo shoots just for you. Day by day, more of these motherfuckers start off with the usual, I like to work with you, you're beautiful, blase, blase. But eventually, they all either want to fuck or get a new photo shoot about you. What gives? After so many half-naked or ass-naked photo shoots, you've placed yourself in a box. Sure, the feedback and positive attention is consistent, but all it really takes is one compromising shoot made public, and it can potentially diminish your value for mainstream modeling. Now, how many of y'all know a chick that says she's a model and she doesn't necessarily model for any particular brand or company? She's an aspiring model, and I'm not knocking anybody for that. But all it is social media pictures. They got pictures on Instagram, pictures on Snapchat, pictures on Facebook, pictures on Model Mayhem. And they work with all these different photographers. Some of them may pay, some of them may not. But they get the same script brand on them that the rappers do. Everybody's trying to get something out you for free, saying that it's for experience. That's in the beginning, I can see that being acceptable if it's a company or a reputable photographer that can actually give you a boost up. But most times that's bullshit. But it really don't even matter that it's bullshit, because the females are just, most generally speaking, the chicks who want to get into that model life, they just want pictures for themselves. They not finna invest in no camera or no expensive photography equipment and pay to go to these exotic locations or rent rooms and rent hotel spaces and stuff like that. They're not finna do all that. They finna go to whatever photographer is providing the resources and the equipment and the social status, because a lot of photographers got a good name out here. Chicks will settle for that, and that can often be a big send-off mission that nobody's really sending the chicks on. They send themselves on. Mr. Grandeur says, yeah, next thing you know, she's on Pornhub getting blasted in the face, fam. Exactly. Like, I'm not going to read this whole chapter, but you jumped ahead of me a little bit. Look, where did I say that? I said that, bro. I said the irony of the matter is that a great deal of women who find themselves heading down this path have the potential to make more money through sex work and adult entertainment than their traditional good girl counterparts. Now, I kind of created a timeline because that's how it usually happens, Mr. Grandeur. They start off as quote unquote models, then they get into go-go dancing or being party promoters. These are, the girls that they're not necessarily bottle girls, but they dance at the club and they might get like little kickbacks from the promoters for being cute girls in the club. That turns into stripping for the chicks that are more out and bold about it. And what stripping turns into, and there you have it. So yeah, modeling can sometimes be a gateway for other things. And if a chick don't really, just like the rappers, if they don't have nothing to fall back on, they end up in the streets. If the models don't have nothing to fall back on, they end up either on some stripping or fucking shit, or they just end up being another baby mama somewhere. Infamous motherfucker says it kills me women get famous for being talentedless as hell. Yeah, that's when you win a genetic lottery, bro. And look, for any of the ladies that may be watching, I also touched on male models briefly because I knew that was something that would come up. So let me just touch on that before we move on to the next one. Well, what about the guys who model? What are your biased ass stereotypes about them, huh? That's from a female's perspective. Very simple. If they don't make it as professional models, remember, I'm talking about male models here. If they don't make it as professional models, they'll just end up being one or more of y'all's baby daddies. The advantage of being a sought after man based on genetics alone is that you don't have to work for female attention. It's pretty much thrown at you for your genetic value alone. And don't hate the players, hate the game. For anybody, that's how it is. If you're a good looking guy, you handsome, you got the height, the posture, the swag, and all that. I'm not gonna say that pussy just fall out the trees for free, but it'll be definitely a lot easier for a male model or a male stripper than the average Joe. With that being said, when a man gets into modeling or any aspect of vanity and entertainment for that matter, he will almost immediately know if there's a demand from him in this line of work or not. If he is in demand for his genetic value and aesthetics alone, then he's likely to experience positive attention in social settings, more swag than an average beta male, and a naturally developed charm that has been reinforced over time with his effortless success with the ladies. This, of course, comes at the possible expense of his personal development introspectively and professionally. In layman's terms, he runs the risk of becoming one of those vocationally stunted baby daddies that we all know too well for being aesthetically superior, yet cognitively inferior to his woman or women and the rest of society. What does that mean? How many of y'all know, like I said, the guy who may have the muscles, the height, the looks, the good hair, he got everything that a chick wants, but he's a fucking dumbass. Or, he really has nothing to bring to the table other than his looks and maybe like sexual market value. You don't want to be one of those type of guys. Now, I'm not saying that every attractive male or every guy who's won the genetic lottery, I'm not saying that all of those guys end up being stupid or unintelligent or intellectually inferior. That's definitely not true. But it's a possibility. That goes both ways for both sexes. To your point, who said that? Infamous motherfucker. Just like you got talentless, beautiful women, you can have talentless, attractive men. A perfect example, I don't know his name, but y'all always talk about him. The jail bay, prison bay, the guy who got out of jail and now he's fucking royalty, billionaires, Nicki Minaj, all type of shit like that. Again, don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would do the same thing. But understand that it's kind of a trade-off. This is not a perfect life. We all got trade-offs. So if you were born beautiful, then that's a plus. But beautiful people, they can afford to be kind of stupid. Not saying that they are stupid, but they can get away with it. But ugly people or people that's less attractive, y'all gotta work. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers gotta work to eat. Nobody finna be paying all the bills for an ugly bitch, just like nobody's gonna respect undesirable men that don't have something of worth to bring to the table. Yo, shout out to What the Hell Up 7, $15 super chat. Say thanks, brother Marcus, for coming onto the show last night. MAB. On point, guys. Develop a social environment to where you have better options. You must know your worth because women can pick up things. Take notes, guys. I guess you're saying women can pick up on these things. Yeah, definitely. Like women are very socially adept, and they gonna put you in the category as soon as they meet you. I want to say guys do the same thing, but not so much. If that was the case with men, we wouldn't have as much simping as we do. You know, a lot of guys, we follow the path that society has given us from a motherfucking from a gynocentric standpoint. But you know, the ladies, and look at it from a more empathetic perspective on their side. They get so many guys coming at them, from simps to alphas to you know, honest guys to disingenuous guys. They get hit on, even from the ladies. Ladies get approached by ladies. So like with all that experience, they have to categorize you very quickly. Anthony Russell says life is easy when you're beautiful. It is easier, yeah. It can be easier, but again, we gotta. And I'm speaking in favor of my Jeremy Meeks. That's what I was talking about earlier. You know, life is easier when you're beautiful, but you also gotta shit, I guess, earn your stripes, as they say. Just like being born rich helps, but if you the child of a rich person, you may not have the same hustle that your parents might have had. So, you know, like I said, it's all about trade-offs. Okay, we was already on number 6. Number 6, worthless college degrees. As an early millennial 80s baby, growing up, my family mostly consisted of working class proletarians and street hustlers who have never stepped foot inside of an office to work a job. The relatives who worked for large corporations, major universities, or government municipalities were thought of as the big timers. I'm talking about in my family, or the uppity parts of the family. They were far from rich, but they had more to show for themselves than the rest of the family, who sold or stole whatever they had to do, whatever they could, to make ends meet. Regardless of where our elders stood in the family, they all seemed to tell us the same thing. They all seem to tell the same thing to their children. Go to college, get an education so that you can get a good paying job. They may have had good intentions. Essentially, what they wanted for us was to go on to do bigger and better things than what they were able to do when they were our age. But basically, in doing this, they were pressuring us to take on a journey that they knew very little about themselves. At the time of this publication, I wrote this in 2017, we are experiencing a paradigm shift in our understanding of education, more specifically, higher education. We are challenging the thoughts of what higher education is and what it isn't, and under what circumstances is it really worth pursuing. In short, not every college degree is a good degree. That's the part that many parents either don't know or don't have the guts to tell their children. It's much easier for everybody to just tell young people some bullshit like, follow your heart and the money will follow. More on that in the next chapter. Or college graduates on average make blah, blah, blah more money than non-college graduates, pulled from some fabricated statistic that often excludes considerable factors like work experience, the current conditions of the labor market, and the increasing amount of college graduates that can't find work in their respective fields because no one told them that what they were majoring in was a worthless degree. 2 things every young person needs to understand about academia prior to attending college is: 1, the modern purpose in continuing your education is to qualify for better jobs to make more money. Throw all that other learning is fun bullshit out the window. Everything you could ever want to learn is readily available already through the internet and through centuries of data and literary works passed on from a plethora of dead people who have walked the earth before you and I were even thought of. You seriously don't need college to learn. I'm gonna skip that. Number 2, college universities could give less than a fuck what you major in. Sorry to break it to you like that, fam, but it's true. Universities are in business to make money, and in more recent times, to serve as indoctrination camps for cultural subversion and liberal leftist ideologies. So let me move on to the next one because I want to try to keep this video short. Let's see. Shout out Drake. Yeah, Arian Drake. I see you still in here. Rack Me and Rari. He says, man, I dropped out of college in November and I'm doing way better than I would if I would have got a degree. you got to look at the pros and cons. Of course, bro. Like, look, I went to school. I went to college. I didn't finish, but I went to college for 2 years for digital multimedia. That's basically audio and it's what I'm doing right now on YouTube. I didn't have to go to college for it, but I'm glad I did. It was cool. I had a decent time for what it was worth, but I like doing this for fun. I can't say I make a lot of money off of it. I make more money as a truck driver than people would make as a digital multimedia major, unless you went into wherever it's in demand, maybe like in Hollywood, which you got to go through another level of politics for that, or the music industry, Broadway. Like, you could do things like setting up stages and setting up music for arenas and special events and stuff like that. But honestly, when I was in school, I didn't really care about all that. I wanted to be a rapper. So I wanted to know how to record myself in the studio. And so, I just connected the dots there. But I'm glad I got into truck driving because it's a trade. I was able to hit the road and start making money the same year as opposed to waiting 4 years and $100,000 in debt later. What the hell up 7 says, get your commercial trade and passport, guys. Definitely. I'm not ruling out STEM major. Actually, let me go back real quick. I briefly covered STEM majors, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But when you talk to these college grads and you ask them why it's hard for them to find jobs, like more often than not, they probably majored in a degree, like some type of humanities or something that is basically, it doesn't pay. It is no interest. There's no demand in the industry for it. So number 7, political activism, and that happens a lot coming from from college graduates or college dropouts. Political activism, being a social justice warrior. First things first, what the hell is a social justice warrior? I'm glad you asked. From Wikipedia, yeah, I did Wikipedia, man. Social justice warrior, commonly abbreviated as SJW, is a pejorative term for an individual promoting socially progressive views, including feminism, civil rights, multiculturalism, and identity politics. Feel free to look up SJWs online for more definitions and examples, but you get the point. I can give no better illustration of how being a social justice warrior can decay one's mind than the 2016 US presidential elections. Prior to this past election year, the United States has experienced roughly 60 years of regressive progressives dominating the social and political dialogue in America. Virtually every liberal cause, from feminism to LGBTQ rights to the open attack on Eurocentric people or Eurocentric culture, masquerading as a fight against white supremacy, has been forced down the throats of everyday American citizens who would rather prefer to go along and get along and are concerned more with important matters. And are concerned with more important matters like, I don't know, defending the fucking country as we know it from terrorism and globalization. In the wake of recent events such as terrorist attacks on American soil that the media refuses to identify as acts of terrorism, to the government's lax stance on illegal immigration, on a shitty economy, policies like the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, and the North American Trade Agreement or NAFTA, it seems as if the progressive left has ignored all possibilities of their not only negligence, but utter contempt for traditional American values inevitably coming back to bite them in the ass. As a result, during the final moments of the presidential elections, the nation had to ultimately choose between candidates Hillary, basically, Hillary Rodham Clinton and Donald J. Trump. The two candidates that quintessentially, who the fuck is calling me? My bad, y'all. The two candidates that quintessentially represented everything both partisan groups despised in each other. As we know now, President Donald J. Trump's win caused a national meltdown for SJWs everywhere, as well as a long overdue celebration and troll fest for the victims of SJW tyranny. I'm gonna jump to the next one. Like I said, I'd be longer if I'm reading the whole chapter, and that's what y'all need to get the book for. But overall, the political activism, it's a double-edged sword. It can help you improve your arguments with a lot of philosophical differences, but it can also send you down that dark rabbit hole of being offended by any and everything and being stressed out and feeling like you're oppressed by any and everything. Let me scroll back up in the chat. Stephen says CDLs will get you paid. Yeah, man. Well, as of now, until they come out with these artificial intelligence trucks that drive themselves, like everybody needs truck drivers. Everybody needs look at it this way. Everything that you have around you, this computer I'm on, the TVs, the lamps, the beds, the couches, everything in your house was delivered somewhere by a truck. It might have arrived to your country on a ferry or by air cargo, but it took a truck to deliver that shit to somewhere where you can have access to it. So there's always going to be a job in trucking. And even when the trucking dries up, there's still going to be dispatching jobs. There's going to be diesel mechanic jobs. So the trades is really worth looking into for those of y'all that, feel like college is the only route. Rackman Rari says they need to lower the CDL age because coming straight out of high school, a lot of people don't want to go to college. Everyone wants to be truck drivers, and that's all my homeboys talk about 24/7. Yeah, I got my CDL at 22, and like I said, I didn't know I was going to be a truck driver. The irony of my situation is I got into driving trucks because I fucking hated trucks. You know what I'm saying? When I was in college, I was working part-time as a traffic director. Anthony, like the traffic management people that in Chicago, they wear the green vest and they wave the little arm. We basically was the people that fucked up traffic, but they did do a lot of good for crowd management and major events like the Taste of Chicago, Bulls games, Cubs games, stuff like that. But I hated the trucks because they would always mess up the traffic. Well, actually, the traffic was already messed up, but I would have to cut off one lane to let them make those wide left turns. And after a while, I just got used to talking to them at the red lights, and I would start asking them like, man, well, what type of money do y'all make, or how do you like that job? And when I heard the money, it was more than I was making as a traffic director and more than, what I was seeing in school. So I dropped out and got into truck driving school that same year. And I don't have any regrets about that. As far as being under 21, this is the irony about the military. I don't know how y'all feel about the military, but I got a lot of respect for veterans. I feel like, it is an individual jeopardizing their livelihood for the sake of their country. But if you make it back, it has a lot of pros to that. You get perks, you get health benefits, you get paid for a young age. You're gonna be making more than a lot of people your age would if you 18. And I was specifically interested in aviation in the Air Force. Do you know you could become a pilot at 18? You could become a professional pilot, or you can get your pilot license at 18, but you got to be 21 to get your CDL. So you could fly a plane before you could drive a truck, which is, like you said, that's kind of crazy to me. But let me get back on this topic. Where are we at? Let's go to number 8, baby mama, baby daddy drama. The post-war on poverty generations, from the Gen Xers to the present day millennials, have been faced with a unique set of challenges in regards to sanctity of marriage and the traditional family structure. Prior to President Lyndon B. Johnson's expansion of the welfare state via the war on poverty, the primary way, virtually the only socially acceptable way to raise a family, was for a man and woman to become one as husband and wife and have children under marriage. This has always been and always will be the nuclear family, or the traditional family structure. Excuse me. It was only after the implementation of the welfare state that the role of the father and husband was effectively deemed optional, if not completely obsolete. Fast forward to today, and you'll find that there's absolutely no sense of shame. Let me read that over again. My bad for the background noise. Fast forward to today, and you'll find that there is absolutely no sense of shame or dishonor in having children out of wedlock. While there may be little to no social consequences for having bastard children nowadays, the economic and conjugal ramifications still reign loud and clear. That's kind of of a long segment, but we talk about this all the time in the manosphere, the consequences of baby mama, baby daddy culture. Now we kind of stuck in no man's land because on one hand, we need traditional family structures to raise productive, high self-esteem, contributing members of society. It's a fact that a child raised by a mother and father has a greater chance of having better self-esteem, a higher IQ, and we all know that the products of single motherhood, the children of single mothers have a greater chance of being engaged in criminal activity and having self-esteem issues and having daddy issues. So on one hand, we need marriage, we need family structure, but then on the other hand, marriage is not a good deal for men. So like I'm always in that paradox where it's like, you know, I would love to see more families, more traditional families, but I also understand the risk involved with that. And that's why we need such that's why we have such a big need for family reform, family court reform. Went from child support to alimony to all this no fault divorce bullshit. Like that's literally destroying America as we know it. Black Soul Stocks calls it side chick culture. Yeah, and a lot of chicks don't understand, you know, they doing everything backwards. Why would you have a child first and want to get married second when it's so much easier to get married first and then have a child? Then everything is already in place. You don't have to look for a father for your child because you didn't already married the motherfucker. You don't have to have all these unrealistic expectations for beta males because you've already met your man to begin with. But see, that's too much like right. And me even saying that nowadays is considered misogynistic or hating women or your mama black, you hate your mama. You know, it's fucking retarded, man. Doug says, oh, y'all talking to each other. Yo, what's going on, Doug? I just now peeped you in the chat. Shout out to Mel Wolf Lifestyles and Wisdom. Let me get to the next one. We almost done, y'all. I might have skipped it, my bad. Oh yeah, that's another reason why this segment, the baby mama, baby daddy drama, was so long. Take a look at this real quick. Y'all, when y'all get this book, y'all can use just screenshot this right now. Y'all can use this argument when you talking about reproductive rights with women. Me being in some of these conservative circles, I've been exposed to more pro-life advocates. But being in Chicago, I'm always talking to pro-choice chicks. I piss both of them off because me personally, I'm very tit for tat when it comes to reproductive rights. I want to see reproductive rights for men. So when people ask me, am I pro-life or pro-choice, I always say all or nothing. And they ask, what does that mean? And, you know, depending on who I'm talking to, especially if it's a pro-choice chick, because I love fucking with them, I say, yeah, baby, I'm like pro-choice for men and women. And they be like, what? You know, because that's unheard of. That don't even make sense to them because in they man, pro-choice means my body, my choice, aka the woman's body, the woman's choice. But if y'all really want to be advocates for equality, if y'all want to talk this equality bullshit so much, then you will want equal reproductive rights for men and women. And so that's why I piss them off because you really can't argue with that. But going back to this book or this screen that y'all looking at, I'm talking about over 10 forms of female birth control that's readily available. So let me see if I can go back. I say it's also interesting to note that when it comes to contraceptives, women have over 10 different widely available forms of birth control. The birth control pill, the morning after pill, the patch, the shot, the implant, the IUD, the sponge, the female condom or the diaphragm, the cervical cap, aka the shield, the vaginal ring, female tubal litigation, aka getting her tubes tied, and as a last resort, abortions. Men, on the other hand, only have 2 legitimate forms of widely available birth control at the time of this publication. Condoms, which are known to break and or get drawn into a woman's vagina during intercourse, and vasectomies, which is considered a permanent form for the most part. So women get all these forms of birth control and they own birth control, but they still end up pregnant. And then it's somehow the man's fault. How the fuck is that possible? That's like me giving you all the control and you fuck up and say it's my fault. That doesn't make sense. Rari says you motivate young hustlers like me to get in position. 100. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I really appreciate the younger people that's promoting this book, because I named it this for a reason. I named it Just Another Book Niggas Ain't Gonna Read, partially to troll, because a lot of this book was written while I was in Facebook jail. But for people for those of y'all that's friends with me on Facebook, y'all read this book and kind of already knew what to expect, because these are the same talking points that Facebook censors us for opening discussions about. It's common sense shit. But the reason I appreciate the younger audience is because the older people, they were more offended by the cover and the name. They said it was disrespectful. But like I said, it was never disrespectful to anybody when I was saying nigga, 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 nigga in music. It's never disrespectful to anybody when people were saying bitch, 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 I kill you, I shoot your grandma, I throw your auntie off a truck. You hear all this stuff in black culture musically, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop and rap and trap music, drill music. We hear that all the time, and nobody's at the heads of these rappers. And people don't even care when I use profanity or vulgar language or offensive words in music. But the minute it's on a book, all of a sudden it's offensive. And that's really the only reason people was in their feelings about it, because it was a book. We got Mr. Research in the building. Where you see Mr. Researcher? I don't see him. But hey, if you in here, man, shout out to Mr. Research. Black Soul Star says it takes logic. Let me scroll back up. Takes logic and reason, which they don't have. They want it all, but it comes at a price. Yeah, man, with great power comes great responsibility. We all know that. Number 9, the marriage trap, which really is the divorce trap. To be specific, it isn't marriage that is a trap so much as the risk of divorce. Here's the thing about marriage. You're not supposed to get married to someone if you think it can or will result in a divorce. At least that's the shaming tactic commonly used to discourage the conversation. The reason I call it the marriage trap is because it is the romanticism of marriage that society relies upon in order to avoid discussing the real threat and possibility of divorce. It is a cunning method used to have even It is a cunning method used to have even the most rational people depend solely on their emotions to make logical decisions. If shamed and socially conditioned correctly, the average man and woman would avoid giving any serious consideration to these risks, let alone discussing them openly with their partner, because frankly, it is unromantic, and love just doesn't seem to be as magical the more it becomes a series of business transactions. So there's a reason people don't like talking about prenuptial agreements, no fault divorce, the state that they live in, even on a dating level before we talk about marriage. There's a reason men and women are uncomfortable talking about things like sexual consent with all this Me Too bullshit and this yes means yes bullshit. How romantic, and I challenge anybody that got game to try this. How romantic is it to get your woman all buttered up, she all wet and hot and ready to go, and you gotta break it down like, hey, before I stick my dick in you, like, can I have consent to hold your hand? Can I have consent to kiss you? Anybody that knows game or knows how to interact with the opposite sex, y'all know that shit is an instant pussy dry. It turns both of y'all off. Just asking for a kiss is like, nigga, what? Like, that's lame. That will ruin the moment. But we living in a society that's demanding all this from feminist ideologies that feel like, women, everything is rape. They constantly redefining everything to be rape. And it's getting to the point where men and women can't even feel comfortable around each other anymore. So going back to the topic of the marriage thing, the reason it's so uncomfortable for people to talk about alimony, no fault divorce, irreconcilable differences, these are serious concerns, and it's something that I would say every date should have a conversation about, but definitely every relationship, every couple. Before you propose or get engaged in any of that, y'all should have had the rough talk. Y'all should have had the conversation that don't nobody want to have, but people don't. And society relies on us to not have that conversation and for us to basically stick our dick in a bear trap when it comes to marriage, because if you jump into this not knowing not knowing how your partner feels when it comes to divorce, or when it comes to prenuptial agreements, when it comes to separate bank accounts, when it comes to who's gonna pay what bill, who's gonna live with who, what city, state y'all gonna live in, who mama gonna visit, who mama not gonna visit. Like, these are things that this is a discussion that needs to be had. And society relies on men and women not having this conversation and just being high off of the infatuation stage, and they'll just figure the rest of it out later. So what happens when you figure the rest of it out later? You figure out, I can't fuck with this person no more. Or they figure out they don't want to fuck with you no more, and it results in divorce. It results in the destabilization of the nuclear family. And that's why society is so fucked up the way it is now. Let me scroll down so I can see where y'all at in the chat. Dre Hart, what's up to Dre Hart? Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. He say you must sign that prenup if you divorce, government comes after the kids, that's your ass if you don't sign it. The prenups can help, but the risk with the prenups is that it can easily be thrown out. And this is what I like about law. I mean, I hate lawyers. I hate the fact that, dealing with law can be expensive. But in order to even have a structure, a prenup structure properly, both parties have to have an attorney. Y'all gotta watch that. We talked about this in the live chat. Like, y'all gotta watch that movie Divorce Court, because it's two things going on with prenup. One, they being drafted by two lawyers, and oftentimes they're being drafted either with a temporary clause, like in a Janet Jackson situation, where all she did was wait until the honeymoon period was over with, and she divorced the billionaire and got I don't know how much money. So you got that going on. You got like I said, everybody's getting money off of the couple, the wedding, the people that's charging you for the wedding, the vacations, the honeymoons, the people that anything revolving around a wedding or the legalities of marriage, meaning like the state, the attorneys, everybody's getting money off of your quote unquote love. Y'all could just love each other and leave it at that, but that ain't enough. Everybody want to get the state involved and get attorneys involved. But prenups can be thrown out. They can be thrown out under different circumstances. They might say that this person has signed the document under duress, or shit. Sometimes the judge could just say, I don't like the prenup, and the judge could throw it out. Another risk is understanding that family court is what they call equity court. So it's not civil court, it's not criminal court, it's a third court. It's something that's not even, I don't even think it's constitutional, honestly. It's not civil court and it's not criminal court. So what type of court is that? It's equity court. And when you're in equity court, you don't have the right to an attorney. You don't have the right to a jury. If you notice it, if you ever sat in a family court case, it's just the judge and the attorneys and the two parties involved. So they really, if you can't afford an attorney, they can finesse you that way. And that whole thing about the man paying for the woman's attorney, like, that's bullshit. That that wouldn't happen in a civil or criminal court. So it really needs reform. Arian Drake says the wife is the most expensive prostitute you can have. Yeah, I've heard another guy say getting married is the most expensive way to get free pussy. So it's kind of saying the same things. Like when you marry somebody, besides raising a child, that's the only legitimate reason to get married, is to raise a child under one household with mother and father, and you don't have to get married to do that. So it's really a send-off mission. I think I might have. Oh, the last one. We on the last one. Let's knock this out, y'all. Consumerism. Consumerism is the continuous process of acquiring goods and services beyond necessity. Oftentimes, in our debt-driven society, it induces the masses to spend beyond their means for the sake of instant gratification. This consumer culture mentality, left unchecked, is what keeps many people enslaved to their materialistic desires and ultimately enslaved to their debts and enslaved to their jobs. We can push the blame for this consumer culture onto the lavish lifestyles of the ruling class, their glorified court jesters, commonly referred to as celebrities, or even the evil corporations. I'm saying that in quotations. I'm saying that sarcastically. Even the quote unquote evil corporations who are driven solely by growing their own profits. But at the end of the day, we all have the power of choice. If we lack the fortitude and personal accountability required to avoid frivolous spending, then we lend ourselves to not only a perpetual state of financial turmoil, but also to a perpetual state of insatiability, as our sense of happiness and tranquility grows increasingly dependent upon externalities. Basically, humans are insatiable. Like, everything loses its novelty. You can want a brand new Ferrari. You wanted that Ferrari your whole life, and the moment you get that Ferrari, it'll make you real happy. You get a dopamine rush. You could be very happy with the Ferrari. When people driving around in nice cars, they could be genuinely happy. But at some point in time, it just becomes just another car. You might want the most, I know y'all heard this before. You find the most beautiful woman, and you show me the most beautiful woman, and I'll show you a guy that's tired of her shit. That is so true. You might have a thing for a young lady, or I hear the ladies talk about it all the time. They might have a crush on some guy, and they've been chasing this person for the longest, and they finally get them, and they realize, I don't even like this motherfucker. Or, now that I have them, I don't like them anymore. Why? Because everything loses its novelty. I'm not saying this for you all to be pessimistic or nihilistic. I'm saying it because we need to understand that sometimes the things that we desire the most, or the things that society brainwash us to want, like the big house, the nice car, the nice clothes, we gotta be seen at this particular place, we gotta eat this particular food. We gotta really ask ourselves, is this something that we want, or is this something that has been projected onto us by consumer culture? And that's why I say consumerism is one of the biggest send-off missions, because if you look at a lot of people that's in financial binds, and I'm one, I'm telling you right now, like I got a car note, and it's higher than it needs to be. I didn't have to get the car that I wanted, but I got it. And the moment I got it, what happened? Everybody loved it, and I was just like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. And I love the car, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's a fucking car. I would be just as happy riding in a fucking scooter in the mountains in the DR somewhere, and the more I travel, the more I come back, the less that the material things mean to me here. So now I'm at a point where I'm like starting to care less about the shit. And it really bothers me when other people start dick riding, because we talked about this on Black Ram's channel. The more you peacock, the more attention you get. You get good and bad attention. So, for what it's worth, I have a little more social status than I once had. And that's nice. I appreciate people knowing me when they see me, and being polite to me and things like that. But it also comes with that thought in the back of my mind of, would this person give a fuck about me had I not had the things that I had when they met me? Or would a person really care about me for who I am as opposed to what I have? And that's something that comes with materialism. So if you dress down, if you keep it simple, if you live a stoic lifestyle, if you live a minimalist lifestyle, you don't really have that much of a esteem problem. You don't have to guess if a bitch is a gold digger or if she really genuinely interested in you. Anthony Russell says, sell your car. This is the catch. This is the thing about buying a car. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it loses value. And then you become what's called upside down in the car. So you can't really sell the car until you pay it down far enough to where you can resell it or take it back to the dealership. And at that point, I got good credit. So they always asking me to come back in. Hey, we can get you in a bigger, better car. That, again, that's the consumer culture. The reason I like my car is because I don't really drive it. I know it sounds weird, but I barely drive the motherfucker because I don't live far from where I work. I don't go out unless it's worth my time. So I really drive it to special occasions. Other than that, like I don't have a problem. I don't drink and drive. That's another thing. So if I'm gonna go out and drink, I gotta either Uber or ride with somebody else. And if I ride with somebody else, then I don't like being on their time, so I end up Ubering home anyway. Dre Hart says the non-matrix mindset is setting in. I guess good, bro. Yeah, man, definitely. Like the more we get out the matrix, the more we realize how much of a matrix it is. And don't get me wrong, like I say this in every video, every country, every society in the world has its pros and cons. I would like to say every place in the world has its own matrix. It's just a matter of knowing what's what and peeping game and being able to navigate through these matrix. How would you say that plurally? Being able to navigate through the system at your own free will. It's nothing like that. You know, you're not gonna save everybody. You're not gonna pull everybody out of the matrix. Everybody doesn't want to be pulled out of the matrix. But just knowing that you have the freedom and the knowledge, the self-awareness to be able to navigate in and out of that system at your own will, that's powerful. Gear ZNet says the answer is no. People ignore your existence when you are below a certain threshold of social viability. Facts, big facts. I'm about to make another video about my favorite outfits because I don't have a lot of clothes, but I'm gonna show y'all my favorite outfits. Some of which I name brand, and some of which I plain dress. And the reason I like the plain outfits, and they actually like blue collar type fits that you can get from anywhere. You can go to any uniform store and get like some Dickies type pants or some cargo pants and a little button up blank shirt or a blank blue shirt, blue collar shirt. That type of attire works wonders for me because it has an incognito form of status. People look at you, they don't know what you do. You could be a postal office worker, you could be a bus driver, truck driver, anything. They don't. You could be a mechanic. All they know is you look like you work. So for me, I like dressing like that when I'm not going anywhere special because shit, I get pulled over by the police. I don't look like I'm on my way to do some crazy shit. I look like I'm on my way to work. If I'm shopping, I don't look like I'm finna steal something. They just don't know if I can afford it or not. If I'm around females, you know, sometimes they might ask what I'm doing, but oftentimes they don't. Like I could actually be invisible if I wanted to be. I could walk up and down the street and I could have people don't know how much money I got on me, but I look like a fucking plumber or I look like a Mario brother, so they don't really. You can be under the radar and still do it tastefully to where people don't look at you as an absolute peasant or a thug or nothing like that. So I'm gonna make another video on that. I do want to address y'all chat. If anybody wanna hop on, I'm gonna do something a little differently this time. Usually I'll start off the video with my rant or my topic, and then I'll open the floor for anybody to join. I'm gonna do something different this time. I'm gonna end this here just for the sake of keeping this video short on a replay, and I'm gonna post a link in the chat before I end this live stream. So if y'all want to open up another hangout, follow me to this next link. I'm gonna post a link in the chat real quick. This next chat is the 10 biggest send-offs missions Google Hangout. So y'all click this link before I end this video. Hold on 1 second. This is the link I'm gonna be at. And shout out to Disruptive Male. Y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel Disruptive Male. He give a lot of good game on pursuing women more from. I wouldn't call him a dating coach, but like he's the type of red pill brother that I would take game advice from. You know, because he's not out here like bashing everybody for their lifestyles. He's not out here necessarily telling you how to live your life. He's just sharing his experiences on what works for him with his interactions with women. But another reason I really like his channel is because, man, this brother is like so organized and business minded. Like he got other channels that's business related, but this Disruptive Male, that's his red pill channel. But I'm copying this format from what he does, because what he does is he'll start off one topic and then he'll share the link Y'all go to the next link and he'll meet y'all over there, and then that becomes another video. That way we don't have to make 7 and 8 hour long videos with the Google Hangouts. If somebody is viewing this on a replay, they can just check out my video first, and then they can check out the Google Hangout second. So one more time, I'm gonna post these links to the Google Hangout page. We're gonna start another live, maybe like another 5 or 10 minutes. And any of y'all that want to join me on a Hangout, we'll do that on that live stream. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. That was the 10 biggest send-off missions. Again, all my Patreon Gold members, y'all should have an ebook by now, but if not, hit me up on Patreon. I'll make sure I get that to y'all. For anybody else that's interested in the book, it's called Just Another Book Niggas Ain't Gonna Read. It's available in paperback and ebook formats on Amazon right now. So thanks again, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.